Hello friends, welcome to fresh new episode of Techie Tuesdays. I'm your host S. Ravi Kumar. Techie Tuesdays is a weekly show where I answer your tech and career related queries. So if you like my answers, then please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends, family and colleagues. Now let's get started with today's questions. Today's first question is by Lata. She's asking, how do I become a web designer or web developer after 12th commerce? Lata, let me clarify you one thing, that there are lot of differences between the job responsibilities of a web designer and web developer. So you can't prepare for both of these roles in a single path. Especially for web developer, you need to go through the engineering path because if you have done engineering, especially computer engineering or software engineering, it will be easier for you to become a web developer. However, that is not possible in your scenario since you have done 12th from commerce, and most of the engineering colleges in India require physics, chemistry, maths, and they have entrance tests related to these particular subjects in order to take admission in these colleges. So the options left for you are basically going for either a BCA degree or BCA and MCA, or going for a BSc IT and MSc IT degree. So BCA is basically Bachelor in Computer Applications, and then similarly MCA is Masters in Computer Application, and then again in the same grounds BSc is basically Bachelors of Science in Information and Technology, and MSc IT is again Master of Science in Information and Technology. These courses, in my opinion, don't require you to have science in your 12th to getting admission. So you can very easily get admission in either BCA or BSc IT. And if you have interest in designing, so you can very easily go in web designing via BCA or BSc ITs. You can go for specialization in web designing. Many multimedia companies like I won't take any of the name because I don't remember any of the name on top of my head, but most of the multimedia companies, they provide degrees, especially BCA and BSc IT degrees in specialization with multimedia. So using these degrees and specialization, you can go into web designing field. And if you want to go for a web developer field, again you have to do complete education, that is BCA and MCA from a reputed college in order to get into a web developer role. So as I said that both web developer and web designer have different responsibilities. For web developer you have to do BCA and MCA. However, for web designer you can go with creative background along with BSc IT. Next question is by Sana. She is asking, a professor assigned us to do a project on a NoSQL database. What do you recommend? Sana, my recommendation would be to go with either MongoDB or Cosmos DB. Both of these NoSQL databases are very popular in the industry. So you will not only be creating your project, along with that you will be also gaining an industry experience, a database or a NoSQL database experience which is widely used in the industry. Apart from that, both of these databases have very good documentation. It is supported by both community as well as corporate, and it is also available for free users or student users. So in my opinion, you should go with either MongoDB or Cosmos DB to create your NoSQL project. Next question is asked by Ashish Pandey. He's asking, what is the single most important skill a programmer should have? Ashish, in my opinion, it's not just one skill, but rather two skills which are very important for you to grow as a programmer or as a developer or in any field. But these two skills apply more in the software development field. The first skill is to quickly learn new things or adapt to the changes which are happening in your programming framework or language. So the skill would be to learn new things quickly. As you know, computer industry or programming industry is evolving every day. A language get evolve every day. Earlier C# started with C# 1.0. Now C# is on version 10 and it has so many new things which are there in C# 10 which improves the productivity of a developer and help you in getting things done in more easier and faster way. So as a programmer, you should be a quick learner or adaptive to changes or ready to learn new things which are coming in your programming framework or language. The second skill is communication skills. Communication skill is not only important for a programmer or developer, it is also important in any job right now if you want to grow in your career. And by communication skill, I doesn't mean just English. By communication skill, I mean that you should be able to convey your message in clear language, be it English, be it Hindi, or be it whatever regional language you are proficient at. Communication skills also mean that you should be able to understand what the other person is saying. So in my opinion, in the current evolving world of IT, these two skills, that is communication skills and the skill to learn new things quickly, are the most important skills which are required by any professional, be it programmer, be it team lead, be it developer, be it a business analyst. Anyone who is in the current IT industry, he should know these or he should be proficient in these two skills in order to grow their career. Next question is by Vaza. He's asking, which is the best clean architecture template for .NET Core applications? First of all, for those who don't know what is clean architecture is basically a software design philosophy started by Robert C. Martin, aka Uncle Bob, in year 2012. He has written a detailed book on this topic called same Clean Architecture. So one line definition of clean architecture is that clean architecture is a software design philosophy where the elements of software applications are divided into loosely coupled levels. These levels are based on the various elements of that software application. It basically divided into entity, cross-cutting concerns and all the other things which are basically related to that particular software requirement. Clean architecture is independent of software development framework or language. That's the reason many people have created their own initial solution, which, as Vaza is saying, that template. So many people have created their own solution templates for implementing clean architecture in their application. Now coming to your question, Vaza, there are many clean architecture implementation in .NET Core also, but there are two popular ones which are very popular in community as well as industry. The first one is given by Jason Taylor and it uses Angular for Web UI, ASP.NET Core 6 for API and backend with EF Core 6 for data access. Apart from that, it also uses many other sub frameworks, or you can say open source framework for doing different things. For example, it uses auto mappers for mapping the entities at different layers. It uses Fluent validation for doing the validation. It uses NUnit and Fluent assertions, mock and respam for unit testing. It uses Docker for containerized deployment. I will put the link of his GitHub repository which contains all the documentation related to getting started with his clean architecture solution template, and you can follow along that documentation if you want to create a clean architecture application using Angular as a web UI and ASP.NET as a backend. The second most popular clean architecture solution template is given by Steve Smith, aka Ardalis, who is a very popular architect in .NET community. His clean architecture templates uses .NET technologies throughout the application. So from end to end, that is from backend, front end, everywhere he uses .NET technology. Like for UI, he is using ASP.NET MVC. For backend and web API, he is using ASP.NET Core with EF Core 6. For unit testing, he is using XUnit and mock, and some other DLLs which he has created all by himself. So he is using his own NuGet packages in his template. But all those NuGet packages are again written in .NET Technologies only. I will put the link to his GitHub repository also in the video description, and from there you can get started with using his template if you want to use .NET sub-frameworks throughout the clean architecture application which you are developing. In my opinion, both of these templates are best templates of implementing clean architecture in .NET Core as well as .NET 6, as they have updated these templates to the latest .NET 6 framework. So if you want to use Angular as your web UI, you can go with Jason Taylor template, and if you want to use .NET technologies throughout the application, then you can go with Steve Smith or Ardalis solution template. Next question is by Paras. He's asking, what are a few benefits of contributing to open source projects? Paras, there are many benefits to contributing to open source project. The first and foremost one being that it helps you in building your personal brand. Apart from that, there are many other benefits of contributing to open source project, like you become part of a community. When you are contributing to an open source application, you are not only one person, there are many people who are contributing to that open source application, and you become part of that community, which helps you in growing personally as well as professionally. By personally, I means it help you in grow in your technical skills, because when you are contributing to open source, you are not only contributing just via code, you are also understanding the code which is there in the open source tool or the open source application. So you are learning other people code, you are growing yourself technically by learning that particular open source application, and there are many people to help you out, or your community members, they are there to help you out. So you become part of a community if you are contributing to open source projects. Apart from that, it also helps you in gaining recognition as a subject matter expert of the tool or framework in which you are contributing. So let's say you are contributing to .NET Framework. You will be listed on the contributors list of .NET Framework on the site, as well as other documentation which are related to .NET Framework. The same happens to many open source application, and you will be listed down as a contributor on the GitHub page also. By that, you will be recognized in the community as well as industry as a subject matter expert of that particular technology. In this scenario, you will be recognized as a subject matter expert of .NET technology. So contributing to open source give you the recognition of being a subject matter expert in the technology on which you are contributing. It also gives you a platform to showcase your coding expertise, which you can share in your resume without any hesitation. If you work for a client, you can't mention the name of his application, or even if you can mention the name of his application, you need his permission, as you have to sign an NDA or non-disclosure agreement with that client that you won't be sharing his technology or his project or his application anywhere else. So you can just mention that, okay, I have worked in this kind of application. You can't mention the exactly name of the application or which module you have used, because if you are working for a client, you are bound by some kind of restrictions. But if you are contributing to open source, that thing you can clearly show on your resume, and people can verify that by visiting the GitHub site that you are really working on that application or not. So it's kind of a verifiable expertise showcase which you can do if you are contributing to open source. Another benefit of contributing to open source is that you might be hired because of that open source contribution. So if some companies decides to use a particular open source technology or a open source tool or framework, and if you are contributing to that open source tool framework, they know that, okay, you are really a subject matter expert in that particular open source tool. So they will contact you directly, and they may hire you as an expert in their team. So it helps you in getting job also. So these were my answers to your tech and career related queries in this episode of Techie Tuesdays. If you want your questions to be answered in next episode of Techie Tuesdays, you can DM me your questions with hashtag Techie Tuesdays on any social media platform. All my social media handles are Techie Rathor. I hope you like my answers, and if you like my answers, then as usual, please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends, family and colleagues. So until my next video, take care, bye bye.